I'm going to continue what I was talking about cross-cultural communication skills and being globally competitive. And this time around, we're going to look at the chairman of the Tokyo Olympics in 2021 and what happened that made international news headlines. Remember the incident whereby the chairman of the Tokyo Olympics committee had to resign because of some sexist statement that he made, and it went public, And in fact, the feminists in Japan even said that if not for the international coverage of the incident, that the man would never have resigned. He would never have resigned if it had not become an international incident whereby there were calls from the international community for the man to resign. So you can find that statement in the comments below. Good manners empower us to become excellent representatives of our families, our tribes, our nation, our ethnic groups, our race, our company, and every other organization that we might be representing. If you're in a church, good manners empower you to represent your church well. It's important that you represent these institutions well, especially your family, especially yourself. It doesn't matter how ambitious you might be, or how religious you might be, or how educated you might be. If you don't have good interpersonal skills, it might not make much of a difference to your career. Of course, people might hire you because you're good in one particular area, but in the long run, they might find it difficult working with you if every time they come against you, they have some friction with you. There's some people that are just naturally aggressive, or naturally rude, or naturally pompous, or naturally this, or naturally that. They feel it's natural. But the truth is, anybody can change. Anybody can make the effort to know what is right and what is wrong, and what works and what doesn't work. You can make the effort. I wasn't always this person. Everybody changes if they want to, but if you don't want to, then you remain the way you are. You have like the roof falling over your head and you don't care, and you don't want to fix your roof, then at the end of the day, the roof is really going to fall over your head and it's really going to be your business. So it's important for you to make that effort to see how you can adopt the globally competitive skills and adopt good manners for your sake and for the sake of those that you represent. Some years back, we had a public figure who was at the highest level of public office, and she was the wife of someone very prominent, and it seems that she had been climbing steadily to that point of prominence and that point of public exposure, but she had not realized that she was going to go that far, because by the time she went that far, she got that far, she was not prepared. Someone even made a statement that she was like a bull in a china shop. She had no clue what to do when it came to what to say. She had no clue what to do in terms of comporting herself. She had no clue what to do in terms of deportment, or in terms of how to look like a lady, not to mention how to look like a lady at that level where she was. Why? Because she had missed all the opportunities to prepare for that level of exposure. So sometimes you are in a position, and it's perhaps to you a small position, but that position is probably the best opportunity for you to start preparing for the opportunity that might be lying ahead. That's that position that you are in right now is probably the best time for you to start preparing for something bigger, because you never know what tomorrow might bring. And there's nothing wrong with being classy. There's nothing wrong with being elegant. There's nothing wrong with being polite. There's nothing wrong with having the savoir-faire of life and knowing what to do in any given social or public situation. Never disappoint the public. That's one thing I like to say to people. Never disappoint the public. They expect something from you, and then when you come out, they're like, oh, is that it? But if you're able to prepare for that very public position or that very public exposure, then you will be the kind of person that when you step out, people will be like, wow, she really is this person. She really is the first lady. She really is the governor's wife. She really is the princess. She really is the CEO. She really is the that, or he really is the CEO. I remember there was a message by TD Jakes. He said that before you become the CEO, you ought to be that. Before you become a wife, you ought to be that. So that means before you even get to that office that you're aiming for, then you already have to be that person that is supposed to be in that office. It's such a crazy situation that there seem to be so many people that are occupying important positions and elevated positions, and they have all this privilege but no responsibility whatsoever to the public. They do not comport themselves in a way that is commensurate of the office. They do not comport themselves in a way that makes them look like the kind of people that others should look up to. The only people thing that people do is just maybe gather around them to see whatever little pieces of money they can pull out of them. But what people should be able to do is to look up to you as a mentor or as an icon, as a model. But if they can't do that, then what use are you? The basic thing you should be able to do for the public is be a mentor or be a role model for the young people. But if you can't even do that seriously, then what are you doing in that office? You need to come out of that office and let the person that was prepared for that level of responsibility that comes with that level of privilege to take that office, so that they can come out and be responsible to the public and never disappoint the public. So good manners empower us to present ourselves at our personal and professional best. You must learn to honor others. Honor them. Honor those that are in your presence. Honor those in your presence by comporting yourself and interacting with them in such a manner that they feel honored. What does honor mean? I think that's a homework that I'll leave with you today. What does honor mean? What does it mean to honor someone? What does it mean to honor your parents? What does it mean to honor your employees? What does it mean to honor your employer? What does it mean to honor your husband or your wife? What does it mean to honor your friends? What does it mean to honor those that you have responsibility to? Maybe you're in an office and you have those that are depending on that office. What does it mean to honor them? What does it mean to honor the public? What does honor mean to you? I would like you to tell me what honor means to you by leaving a comment in the comment section below. I look forward to talking to you more on this topic. The former Justice of the United States of America, Clarence Thomas, once said that good manners can open doors that the best education cannot. And it's true, because I've seen people with really good qualifications from Ivy League universities, and when you bump into them or you interact with them, you're like, they leave much to be desired. So it's crucial for you to understand the importance of good manners. Don't think that just getting degrees or getting money makes you like the most excellent person, or makes you the the genius of the world or whatever, or that puts you in position to tell everybody else what to do. It does not. Money does not equal sense. Neither does plenty degrees. I've seen some really intelligent women that made very wrong choices. I've made some very wrong choices, but that doesn't mean that I don't know how to make right choices. I just need to become more conscious of the choices that I make. So it's important that you, as a man or a woman, place good manners as a priority in your life. Make good manners a priority. Make good manners in the way you interact with others a priority. If there's something you've been doing and you know that that does not portray you as a person of good manners, then find a way to stop doing it. Understand how you're supposed to behave in that situation and how you're not supposed to behave. It's crucial to your personal branding that you understand the importance of good manners. Several years ago, after I left university, I armed myself with several copies of my curriculum vitae or my resume, and I went to central London. And in fact, I went to Piccadilly, took the tube all the way to Green Park, came out, and walked down to Piccadilly looking for work, and I wanted to work in a nice place. I was working on Oxford Street at the time, but I wanted to work somewhere else. I'd been in that job for like a year, and I just wanted something different. I'd applied to Harrods, they didn't take me. I applied again, and you know Harrods, once you apply the first time, you have to wait like another 6 months before you can apply again. So anyway, I saw this store. It was wow. Looked really how would I say, very imposing. It was called Fortnum & Mason. So I walked in there, went to the 4th floor, and I saw a gentleman. So I gave him my CV. In fact, I didn't tell you. In fact, when I entered the building, I was a little bit in fact, when I entered the building initially, I was very intimidated because everywhere was so glamorous and out of this world, gorgeous. You know, there was so much opulence everywhere. The elevator was gold in color, and there were mirrors, and it was just so nice. So anyway, I went to the 4th floor, and there was this gentleman sitting behind the desk, and I gave him my CV and I left. But I had no hope whatsoever that they would call me for the job because of how intimidated I was when I went to drop my CV. But funny enough, some few days later, a lady called me and said she wanted me to resume at their training school. I was like, what? I haven't had an interview yet. She said, no, don't worry about the interview. The person who collected your CV wrote at the top, very friendly. I was like, what? So I resumed in the training school, and I worked there for quite a while. I enjoyed the job. I was there. You had morning tea and you had evening tea, then you had lunch, and everything was paid for. And if you worked a single hour above your closing time, they would pay you extra time and all that. And I found there were some women that had worked there for 45 years. Some had worked there for 35 years. My boss had worked there for over 30 years. So it was a really nice environment to work in. It was a nice company. And there were so many trappings that would keep you there for that long, to be honest. I would like to conclude this story by stating that good manners is common sense. You never know who you're talking to. I might have just looked at the man behind the table and said, well, who is he? I don't think he's the manager. I don't think he's the MD. I don't think he's this. But he had the key for me getting into that place that I'd been so intimidated by without having to do an interview. He was just, when I started working there later, I found that he wasn't like a big guy. He was just one of the office assistants. But he actually helped me to get in there in such a miraculous way. So I know it was God. I know it was God because that day I'd prayed in the morning and said, God, I really need a job this day. But at the same time, if I'd gone there and frowned my face and looked in there scared and everything, I'm not so sure that would have helped my case either. But I thank God that I looked friendly and he thought I looked friendly, and that helped me to get that opportunity. So common sense equals good manners. Good manners equals common sense. Common sense will tell you to display good manners and to be friendly to others. If you smile at someone, they will smile back at you.